All right, let's jump right into this explainer. If you're in hospitality, you already know the ground under our feet is shifting. By 2026, the way we manage and retain top-tier talent is going to mutate irreversibly. Today, keeping that specialized talent requires a massive, fundamental operational shift away from rigid management and straight toward ultimate flexibility. So we're going to lay out the exact blueprint for how you can pull this off.
We've got 6 critical phases to cover today. The new labor paradigm, micro-learning and flexibility, strategic cross-training, self-management and leadership, the guest journey, and finally, an immediate action plan to get you started.
Okay, part 1. The new labor paradigm.
Look, we have to face a pretty hard truth right out of the gate here. Traditional financial compensation, it's just no longer the ultimate prize for emerging, specialized talent in our industry. The absolute crucial concept we need to grasp is the emotional salary. Today's workforce values sovereignty over their own time way, way more than a standard paycheck. They want work-life balance and operational flexibility. If your entire retention strategy is just throwing tiny financial bonuses at exhausted staff, well, you're playing a game that ended a few years ago. Moving right along to Section 2, micro-learning and flexibility.
So how do we actually train this new workforce without causing immediate friction? I mean, if they value their time above all else, the way we ask for that time has to change, right? Just think about the old way, forcing employees into these grueling 4-hour mandatory training sessions on their days off. It generates instant resentment. It's totally counterproductive. Instead, we absolutely have to transition to a decentralized asynchronous learning ecosystem, basically empowering your team to learn on their own terms.
And here is the magic number, 5 minutes. Under this new model, you take those massive, dusty binders of standard operating procedures and you transform them into rapid 2 to 5 minute mobile videos. Think about it. A staff member can knock out a quick, engaging video during a lull in operations or while they're just sitting on the train commuting home. You're respecting their time, but you're still hitting your training goals.
Now, you might be wondering, how do you motivate them to actually watch these things on their own? Well, you gamify the whole shebang. By structuring the training into levels of competency, your team earns points or badges. But, and this is a huge but, they aren't earning points for cash. They're earning points to unlock flexibility perks. Imagine completing your modules and getting rewarded with priority shift selection, or an extra weekend off, or maybe an approved remote workday for your administrative folks. You are directly tying their professional growth to that emotional salary we talked about.
Which brings us to Section 3, strategic cross-training. Now, offering this level of ultimate flexibility is only financially and operationally sustainable if your team is highly adaptable. And this is where polyvalence comes in. Because you can't offer flexible schedules if your entire operation grinds to a halt the second somebody calls out sick, right? Polyvalence means identifying adjacent roles, like pairing reception with reservations or floor service with the barista station, and training your staff in at least 2 of these secondary functions. So if a bartender drops a shift at the last minute, a cross-trained waiter steps in without missing a single beat.
By mapping these adjacent roles and building a truly polyvalent staff, you create a highly agile workforce. And the data backs this up. High polyvalence drastically reduces forced overtime, which obviously saves on labor costs and protects your staff's quality of life. And when you eliminate those operational bottlenecks, you are directly optimizing your GOPPR, your gross operating profit per available room. Plus, let's be real, cross-training breaks up the monotony of the day-to-day, which is a massive retention booster for dynamic talent.
All right, part 4, self-management and leadership.
Managing this kind of agile, flexible team means your leadership style has to completely evolve. We have to absolutely abandon presenteeism. Those old days of just tracking how many hours someone physically stands at a desk to measure their worth, they are over. We need to pivot to evaluating direct, tangible results. Ask yourself, are we just watching the clock, or are we looking at customer satisfaction scores? Are we tracking hours clocked, or are we tracking complaint resolution times and average food and beverage tickets? True leadership today is about the quality of the delivery, not just the length of the shift. To really make this work, you've got to implement open shift bidding. It's a real game changer. Management publishes the operational needs on shift management software, and the staff actually bids on or selects the open shifts that perfectly align with their personal lives, as long as they hit their base hour requirements, of course. It's literally handing them the keys to their own time sovereignty.
But giving them this much autonomy definitely requires constant alignment. So here's another magic number, 15. Toss out that rigid, dreaded annual performance review and replace it with a 15-minute monthly calibration session. Talent that demands flexibility also expects transparent, continuous, two-way feedback.
A quick 15-minute chat every single month keeps everyone on the exact same page without it feeling like an interrogation.
Let's shift gears to Section 5, the guest journey.
So, what does this all mean for the guests? How does giving your team internal sovereignty actually transform the external guest experience? Well, the entire journey gets elevated. Just picture the pre-arrival stage. Your reservations team, maybe working a hybrid remote model, is fresh, sharp, and totally attentive to special requests. Then at check-in, if a massive tour group suddenly arrives and creates a huge bottleneck, your cross-trained food and beverage staff can just seamlessly step into the lobby to help, completely eliminating those painful wait times. During the stay, your well-rested staff provides genuine, warm hospitality. And at checkout, a polyvalent team member can process the payment, grab the luggage, and give a warm goodbye all at once. It's incredibly fluid.
Fundamentally, this all taps into the very psychology of hospitality. Because your staff actually controls their own time, they suffer from significantly less chronic fatigue and burnout. And what does that mean for the guest? It means that when things inevitably go wrong, because, hey, it's hospitality, your staff handles those complaints with exceptional emotional intelligence. They actually have the mental bandwidth to be empathetic. And that directly and consistently spikes your Net Promoter Score.
Finally, Section 6, our immediate action plan. Let's wrap this up with a highly practical playbook. Everything we've talked about sounds amazing in theory, but how do you actually implement this stuff starting tomorrow? Look, you don't have to boil the ocean all at once. Start with some quick wins. Digitize your top 5 most critical standard operating procedures into 3-minute videos. It's a high-impact, low-effort task you can literally finish in 2 weeks. Then take the next 3 weeks to build a cross-training matrix, matching up those adjacent roles we talked about. Finally, within a month, roll out a shift self-management app where your staff can use their new video certifications to bid on their shifts. It is entirely doable.
I'm going to leave you with the final provocative thought to chew on regarding your own property. Look closely at your team tomorrow and ask yourself, are they working just to survive a shift, or are they working for their quality of life? Because when you make that transition to truly valuing their emotional salary, you don't just retain top talent, you completely redefine what hospitality looks like at your property. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I really hope these insights help you build a stronger, happier, and way more agile team.